Hey, gang, and welcome to another episode, pre recorded, of course, of Everybody Wants England. And I'm only going to be talking about a couple of movies tonight. I didn't quite have enough time to watch the third one, but I am going to talk about a couple tonight, give my rating, and then get out of here for the night. Um, it's been a long few days since Friday. And those of you that have been in my streams or watched the pre recorded videos that I've done since Friday um, know that there was a major hiccup. I could say something else, but I won't. Of the CrowdStrike software, which is security and antivirus software. It didn't play well with a lot of computers. And the company I work for, computers that were left on the night before, which was the majority of them, because IT people will tell you, hey, you might want to leave your computer on because we might send updates, right? Every place I've worked has been like that. Okay. But for those that didn't listen, that was probably a positive thing, because if your computer was off, it did not get this file that got pushed through that caused the ominous sounding blue screen of death, which meant that the computers would not load past a blue screen, um, the blue screen of death. And if you tried to restart them, it would basically get in a loop. And so, yeah, it was a big old mess. So, thank you, CrowdStrike, for giving everybody headaches, or almost everybody headaches, on Friday. For my company, it carried over into the weekend. I had plans, so I did not. Thankfully, I didn't have to work the weekend, but some people did, and I'm sure it was rough. And we're still dealing with residual stuff. I was kind of back to normal, handing out tickets and stuff like that, but it's still, there's still some computers that are having the BSOD, or blue screen of death. So, hence me being kind of tired, as many people are in the IT world right now that had to deal with CrowdStrike. So, I hope you will forgive me for only covering a couple of movies tonight. Some of you may have noticed that um, Landis Confidential is off the air currently. I've got to do. There was a technical snafu, and I've got to do some editing to the video. It will return, um, but I've just got to do that editing first to get rid of that little technical issue, and then I will put that video back out. So if you missed that last night with me and Chris talking about some John Landis movies, never fear, it will return. Okay. So, what do we got going on for the rest of the week? Hopefully, for the rest of the week before I get to these movies. Um, there will be an apples and oranges tomorrow night. Hopefully, I will have Chris on here with me talking about Night of the Living Dead 90, the Tom Savini remake of the George Romero classic. And we're going to be comparing the two and discussing the merits of the remake, and any possible things that weren't real good about the remake, if any, in me and Chris's eyes. So, we're going to be talking about all that tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be a live stream, so be sure to tune in for that. Thursday will be another pre recorded stream, and I'll be talking about a couple of shot on video films from my book, Analog Nightmares. Well, not my book. I own it, but I didn't write it, right? Um, and That will be Thursday. At some point, I will upload that pre recorded video. Now, on Friday, there should be a pre recorded Terror Time Tea. And I'll be talking about a couple of movies and drinking some tea and maybe having a snack. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Candace will be hopefully finally doing our Friday Foolish that we scheduled from a Friday Foolish to a Sunday Silly, and now it's back to a Friday Foolish. The fiasco that happened last Friday really put a dent in my programming for Friday. Um, I must apologize. I probably did lead people to believe that there would be watch alongs this weekend. There will not be watch alongs this weekend. There will be watch alongs next weekend for A Clockwork Orange on Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And next, not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday, will be An American Werewolf in London, one of the films that me and Chris talked about last night on Landis Confidential. Both of those will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, just not this weekend, okay? And, that shows you how my state of mind has been since last Friday. So, without further ado, let's get to these movies. Now, the first movie I want to talk about is Incubus from 2011. Both of these movies I'm going to talk about are on YouTube to watch for free. So if you think that you might be interested in these after I talk about them, have at it. They are on YouTube, folks. Um, Incubus, I really liked. I mean, this was obviously a low budget film, um, but Robert Englund was starring in it. He wasn't a good guy, folks. He is the Incubus in this, and it's a very bloody film. It starts out with a woman. We don't know who these people are, but a woman and a man. The man is in there as his wife is trying to give birth, and you don't really know what to expect here. I kind of suspected something bad was going to happen, you know, like It's Alive or something like that. And things seem to be going okay. That she's doing her breathing and all that stuff, and her husband's there beside her in the hospital scrubs, and he's coaching her. And I think they mentioned something about having to do a C-section on her, and all of a sudden, something's not right. She's like, no, and a monster comes busting through her stomach, splattering blood everywhere. She dies, and the husband is sitting there with blood all over his face. And the next thing we know, he's in a mental hospital in a straitjacket, banging his head on the table, banging his head against the wall. A psychiatrist comes in to talk to him, and he starts to tell his story. He was a uh, a detective or lieutenant or something uh, in the police department, and he had just finished having sex with his wife, and we aren't sure at first because we're thinking, okay, is this his mistress? Is he getting a divorce from his real wife and he's going to get with this chick? But no, this turns out to be his wife, but they both work at the police station. She is a cop. And like I said, he's a detective or lieutenant or something. And he gets called to the police station because they've just brought a guy in accused of killing his girlfriend. The guy's covered in blood. There are no other fingerprints besides his and hers. Um, and her head's missing. And they're interrogating this young guy, and he's like, I didn't do it. There was someone else in the room. And we find out that someone else is Robert Englund's character of the Incubus. And what the Incubus can do is he can turn into smoke. He can go in and out of bodies. He can make people do things. He can make people see things and see people that aren't there. William Forsythe is also in this movie. He plays an ex-detective or something who, as he called it, went to the cracker factory. I'm guessing he had a mental breakdown because the incubus had killed his wife and kidnapped his son, David. And at one point, the incubus turns into David and is trying to make William Forsythe's character think that it's his son. So we got a lot of craziness going on in the police department because Robert Englund is the incubus. He, like I said, he can turn into smoke and enter other people's bodies. He can make them see things that aren't there, see people that aren't there. He can basically change into anybody he wants. Sometimes we actually see Robert Englund with horns and stuff like that that lets us know he is some sort of demon. He actually, the first time we see him clearly, he walks in the police station with the guy's girlfriend's head. And, they try to arrest him, try to put the handcuffs on him. He can get out of the handcuffs and craziness ensues in the police station. But all of this is the backstory of how this detective or lieutenant ended up in the mental hospital. And I thought this movie was creepy. I thought Robert Englund was fantastic in it as the incubus. And it really, it was kind of on Freddy level almost, because at some points in times the incubus has a very sharp knife that he holds in his hand, and you can just almost see Freddy, right? It's Robert Englund. He's sadistic. He's got a sharp implement in his hand. Yeah, I was getting Freddy vibes all over the place. But I thought he was really, really good in this. If you want to see a whole lot of Robert Englund in a movie, this is the movie to see. Yeah, it was low budget. You could tell that, but it's very, very bloody for you gore hounds. There's even some intestines on the floor at one point. So, would I recommend it? Yes, I would. You can watch it for free on YouTube. So, what do you got to lose with that? And what you're probably wondering what rating I would give this, and I'm going to actually give this one. I know I don't have that half yet, but I'm going to give this 3.5 deadites out of 5. So just visualize that half deadite. Wasn't quite a 4, wasn't a 5, but a pretty decent little horror movie. Only an hour and 18 minutes, too. So it's not going to take much time out of your day to watch Incubus. All right, so moving on to the next one, Strippers versus Werewolves from 2012. I didn't honestly, with that kind of title, I did not think that I was going to like this movie. I thought, oh God, it's going to be one of those. But actually, I kind of enjoyed this. It didn't quite have as much nudity as I thought it was going to. I mean, yeah, you have girls on stripper poles dancing around and topless and with just a thong on or whatever in many scenes. You have a girl who uh, is changing clothes while a werewolf guy uh, pleasures himself while he's watching her, and then he attacks her. Um, so you have the werewolves and you have the strippers, right? Obviously. And what we come to find out is one of the main strippers, Justice, is dating one of the werewolves. Actually, they're engaged. But he doesn't know she's a stripper and she doesn't know he's a werewolf, right? So there's one scene where they're having sex and she bites him. And evidently, when she bites him, she gets some of the werewolf blood or whatever because she was able to draw blood. Um, Robert Englund is not in this movie a lot. That was the big drawback for me because I was really wanting to see more Robert Englund as Tapper, the head of the werewolf clan, basically. So you see a few scenes with him in it, but just not many. Maybe a couple of scenes where he's actually talking. But he was more of, and I think he was listed as a special guest on this movie. Um, but basically, what happens is the strippers end up fighting the werewolves, and I don't want to give a lot away, but that's your basic plot line of this movie. Uh, Not a lot of complicated stuff to get in the way of uh, a good old werewolf and stripper movie, right? So, me being a woman, I was not upset by this movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. It just a little fun little diversion. This one was a little bit longer than Incubus. I didn't really think of this as scary. The Incubus was more frightening than Strippers versus Werewolves, and I don't think that they meant for it to be scary. They have it listed as like horror action comedy or something like that. The werewolves almost look ridiculous. They look like uh, what it kind of looked like to me, like the one that the guy that's engaged to Justice. He looks like he just stepped out of Abercrombie and Fitch, they just seem, most of the guys seem like more refined. There's some of them that are kind of like mob guys, and then there's one guy that's just really goofy and dumb. He's the guy that's pleasuring himself while the girls changing bras and different stuff like that. So you got a variety of werewolves, but they to me they didn't look like the traditional werewolves of past movies. But like I said, it was a fun little diversion, a little over an hour and 30 minutes. Not a super long movie, and I would recommend it. Again, you can watch it for free on YouTube, so you're not going to be out any money. It's not, I don't consider it, or didn't consider it a waste of my time. I just wish there had been a little more Robert Englund in it. If there had been a little more Robert Englund in it, I probably would have gave it a higher rating. But I'm not going to give it too low of a rating. I'm actually going to give it a 3 deadites out of 5. Incubus got a 3.5. In the scare department and stuff like that, it was a little more involved than Strippers versus Werewolves. But I didn't expect Strippers versus Werewolves to be all out scary. It was just a fun little ride. And for you guys that like to see a little female flesh, you'll get to see that with this movie. And yeah, I mean, I think that's, I could talk more about both of the movies, but I don't think I really need to. I think I gave you guys and gals that will watch this uh, enough to go on. Sorry, my allergies and sinuses are just terrible right now. But I guess that's all for me as far as Everybody Wants England tonight. I did want to remind everybody that I do have a Discord. Um, and I'll try to remember to put those links into the description for the video before I put it up on YouTube. But I do have a Discord. It's free to join. Um, all you got to do is click on the invite link, create your account, and you're ready to start putting messages on there. Now, I ain't even going to lie to you guys and gals. I've said this more than once. Discord is like a glorified message board. And message boards aren't for everybody. And it's not something that you may not want to visit it every day. I don't even visit it every day, you know, but once in a while I'll get on there and put something on there. But you can introduce yourself on there. There's a channel for that. You can talk about movies or books or music or new releases you want to share with everybody. Maybe you got a cool new release you want to talk about. You can talk about boutique labels, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Get in there and start your own conversation. One of the channels, you don't have to respond to somebody else's. Put your own thing in there. But if Discord is not your thing, um, I'm just putting it out there as a possible thing that you might want to join. I also have a Patreon with three different tiers. The highest tier is $25 a month. And for that, you get several different things. Plus, you get your choice of a free Deadites on Deck hat, t-shirt, or mouse pad. And the image will be like this, but it will also have Deadites on Deck on it. So if you're interested in getting anything like that, $25 a month will get you that plus some other goodies. Um, I've got all of that. We have a sister channel that me and Candace have not yet put any content up on yet, but we're going to soon. Waiting on Woodstock. And Steve and I have a new channel that we just started this past weekend. We did our first episode called We Watch Movies. And basically, what we do is probably every couple of weeks, we're going to get on there and record something and talk about the movies we watch for the week. And so I've got all of that. I'm really excited about all the new things. Plus, I'm always excited about the stuff going on at Deadites on Deck. So, tell your friends, your family members, whoever you think might be interested in the content I'm putting out. I also have a shop where I can make shirts like the one I have on, the Scooby Doo horror mashup shirt, where it looks like Scooby Doo and the gang meet Robert Englund. See, you can get your favorite horror icons, or you can have yourself cartoonerized and put on one of these shirts. I do custom work. Now, you would have to send me a picture of yourself or family members, your kids, your grandkids, your husband, wife, whoever, your best friend. If you want to be cartoonerized and put on a Scooby Doo shirt, I can do it for you. In fact, I'll show you in case y'all haven't seen it. My coworker, I made her one with Pikachu on it. So Scooby Doo and the gang met Pikachu as well. Excuse me, according to this shirt. But I have a lot of different horror icons on there. So far these Scooby Doo horror mashup shirts, or just Scooby Doo mashup shirts, are the most popular type of shirts because the possibilities are basically endless. But if you're interested in any kind of custom work, I am taking custom orders. I did some for Candace, who does Friday Foolish with me, and will be doing some Waiting on Woodstock stuff with me. And also, we'll be doing the Clockwork Orange watch along with me in another week. So I did some custom work for her. So go to deaditesondeck.com, and I have a form on the homepage. So if you got some custom work that you'd want to get a price quote from me, just fill out the information, tell me what you want, and I'll get back to you with the price quote. And if that's acceptable to you, I'll be glad to make whatever the custom item is that you want, whether it's a t-shirt or a hat or a mouse pad or a coffee mugs will be coming soon, tumblers will be coming soon, all kinds of exciting things. Booga Booga Bears are still available, $50 a piece. You can have your favorite horror icon or image or whatever, or you could have your kids or grandkids put on the shirt. Now, the bears you will be receiving won't look exactly like mine, and I haven't even finished my Booga Booga Bear. I've been so busy, I haven't been able to do that. But you will get a little shaggier looking bear with a customizable T-shirt. Okay. So be sure to go over to deaditesondeck.com for all these unique horror items. Okay. So I think I've talked long enough and advertised long enough. So I'm going to call it a night. But before I go, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have an awesome rest of your Tuesday, folks. And let's be excited about Wednesday because we're getting ever closer to the weekend, right? And I'll see everybody next time. Have a great night, folks.